everybody, Bumps the Night, back from Japan, back from the land of the rising sun. If you follow my channel, I kind of talked about it a little bit on like my last video, and maybe like the last two, give or take, but the way I've scheduled and structured them, it's not like you've really missed any uploads from me. I left on September 11th, cheapest tickets I could find, I know, there's a joke there. And I just got back yesterday, which would be the 18th, so I've spent a whole 7 days out of country. Well, realistically it was like 5, because I spent 2 days traveling, but semantics. Anyway, this is the Japan haul. This is everything I picked up for myself. I bought a shit ton of stuff. So off the bat, I will tell you, although it does sound extremely expensive to travel to another country, and it was a little, I'm not going to lie to you. Grand calculus of the things, about $2,200, doesn't sound like a lot. It can be for some people. I guess it just depends on like the monetary value of it. If you're rich, which I'm not, but if you're rich, it's nothing. To me, this was months of saving up, but it was something I really wanted to do. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience to go with my friends and pretty much just check out another country. So it's what I did. So let's talk about it. The Airbnb cost $900. We split that 3 ways. That put me at a grand total of $300 a head. The ticket itself was like a little under $1,100, so I'm already under the $1,500 mark right there. Then you got to factor in food. With a rail pass was like $150. So off the bat, I was a little over $1,500 just going on the trip. I want to say it was probably like $800 I spent, like give or take USD, but it's different because it's yen there. 100 yen is equivalent to like 100 of their yen is equivalent to 68 cents USD. So kind of factor that in there. Anyway, went to a lot of different places. We stayed in Sumida, checked out the Tokyo Skytree Tower, hit Shibuya, we hit Akihabara, the electric light district, and then a couple like cities around. We did a lot of walking, way more walking than I wanted to. So much walking, I should say. My feet still hurt, honestly. But again, once in a lifetime trip. So let's get into it. 2 Poke Centers. I hit both of them. There's the one in the Skytree, which was super duper packed, gave me hell anxiety. Did not spend very long in there. And there was the actual one inside the mall in Shibuya. So in the Poke Center, they had all kinds of Pokemon stuff, obviously. I did end up buying a Pokemon plushie. I got a Magikarp here. And I wouldn't have bought it except when I saw someone else was holding it and squeezed it. He flops. Because that's his whole thing. He's like, carp, 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 carp. So I got the squishable Magikarp plush that moves. I think I paid like 3,000 yen for that. Don't quote me, though. Got some really cool Pokemon Center stickers. Going to slap that bad boy right on my car. I used to have a Psyduck in there. If you follow my TikTok, you know about grapes. If not, don't worry about it. Also got this. Huge Gen 1 fan. I don't care what everyone says. I know Charizard's everyone's boy. I like Venusaur. Oh, and then I got this Umbreon. I thought it was going to be a badge reel, but I realized it's a keychain, so at least it's like a key pull. But still, thought it was neat. Huge fan of Gen 2, so I picked that up. At the Poke Center, they're also giving out these little, at the main one in Shibuya, they're giving out these ZA little like handoff things promoting ZA. I thought it was cool little promo material I was going to add to like the collection. They're also giving out hats. They were out of Totodile, so I went with Tape Pig because a friend of mine got Chikorita, and I didn't want to like matchy-matchy with him. I don't play the Pokemon TCG, but they had this deck box there, and I do play Yu-Gi-Oh! So as cool as this deck box was, Inteleon was my starter in Sword and Shield. It just had a lot of really cool art. While we were in the Electric Town, which was Akihabara, they had these like gumball machines, and not Gachapon, because I know what you're thinking, but they had these like actual gumball machines. You used to see them at Toys R Us and like Old Navy and big places. You put like $1 in coins and you turn it. This was 200 yen, and it's a bouncy ball, which is a Dragon Ball. So I thought that was really neat, and it's a 1-star, which is the one I wanted. So pretty happy with that. While we were in Shibuya, next to the Poke Center, they had like a Shonen Jump store, and there's just all kinds of Shonen stuff. I did pick up some more stickers for my car, so I got Okaroon from Dandadan, as well as Dingy, or Chainsaw Man from Chainsaw Man, so those are going on the car as well. Got this really neat bag from the Poke Center for my stickers, so like I said, collector-wise, I'm going to add that to like my like little drawer full of collectible bullshit. I'm just a dragon, and all my stuff is just my hoard. Alright, hit a couple bookstores. Everyone was there for a certain specific reason. Obviously, I booktube. For me, I was there mainly for books and just the experience, but I wasn't going to go ape shit and buy a bunch of books. They were heavy and I didn't want to like fill my suitcase. So anyway, I had 2 bookstores there. There was a bookstore in the Tokyo Skytree Tower, and I happened to stumble across the My Hero Academia movie book number 4, You're Next, which is the one that came out in June. They wanted 1,600 yen for this one, but this was in a sale pile, I guess because it's an anti-manga maybe, and they weren't moving. And I got this one for 1,100 yen. So what's cool about anti-manga is they're in color. So it's like a shot-for-shot panel of the movie. And they never released this in American, which sucks. I would love to have gotten an English copy of this because My Hero has become one of my favorite franchises in the last year, I'd say. So much so that I binged seasons 1 all the way up to season 7. It was coming out, and then when season 7 finished, I was like, I can't wait. I went and just read the last seasons worth of manga, which was probably 2 books. And then I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z. I'm sure you guys have seen my Dragon Ball manga collection, and back when I had my figure shelves, all kinds of Dragon Ball figures, more so than anything else. Grew up on it because, in my case, when it comes to anime and manga, if they're not punching someone so hard they're getting pressed into a wall and the world's not at stake because someone could destroy it, then what's the point? I know, very basic tastes. Anyway, I went over there with one specific goal. I wanted to find the Broly movie from Dragon Ball Super where they introduced him to be canon. And I wanted that one because that was in Japanese only, and that sells for $25 on eBay. And I was like, I'm gonna find that. I didn't find that, but I did find this. I found a Resurrection F manga, which I have not opened yet. Which another thing is cool. All their manga comes in plastic. I opened this one. That's why it was open. I was flipping through it on the plane. But all their manga comes sealed, so you can't sit there in the store and read it like in America. You want to read this, bitch? You gotta buy it. But this is Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F. This is the last Dragon Ball Z franchise. Even though Super's already coming out, they still named the movie Z before they fully transitioned into the Dragon Ball Super franchise. So, in the Dragon Ball Super anime, they barely gloss over this. There's a very small arc of it. In the manga, they completely just zoom through it. So, I wanted that for the collection. And then I found these. I went looking for Broly, and I found him, but not the one I wanted. This is the Dragon Ball Z Broly movie, the one that takes place before Cell, even though it's not canon. But this one is one of the indie manga, so I was after these. And what's crazy about this one is look how cheap that is. I don't know if you can see that. That is 667 yen. That is dirt cheap here. So I was like, yeah, we're going to get that. Look how thin that is. We're getting that. It's not the Broly I wanted, but I guess it was the Broly I needed. This one was $13.50, so even still, not bad. I mean, and then last but not least, they had Fusion Reborn, which was the one where Goku and Vegeta make Gogeta for the first time through doing the fusion dance. So that was pretty neat. Still waiting to see if Genova ever becomes canon now that they're kind of bringing Super back. We had the Demon Run with Daima. Who knows? Anyway, those are my book pickups. I didn't get a lot of, but the ones I got I'm happy with. I wish I could have found the other anime mangas. Tria Might would have been sick. Like I said, I was hunting another Broly movie. I would have picked up Battle of Gods. And if I could have found it, the other My Hero movies, I would have picked those up as well, because, again, I was a fan of those. I've got the Naruto ones in English, or at least some of them, the ones that got released in English. Love my yapping. I also, while I was in the Electric District, found a bunch of card shops. Pulled up card shops near me, and there was 50. But here's what's crazy. Even, in the early 2000s, and I know 90s, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon were, the primary dominating card games. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has fallen to obscurity over there, more or less. There were some card shops, and cards still are being printed there, but the Rush Duels are really kind of sidelined the main OCG. Granted, there's still a demand for it. One Piece has just fucking taken over. If it wasn't a Pokemon card shop, it was a One Piece card shop, which is a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sprinkled in. And you know what really sucks? One Piece card and Pokemon cards, they're the same size. Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are considered small, so they don't fit the same sleeve ratio. So I did tell myself, though, if I did go out there, I was going to try to find some exclusive sleeves I could not get in America, because there really is not a huge choice in America for card sleeves, especially for Yu-Gi-Oh! You can't just walk into a store and, okay, Target maybe has the one or two, shitty-made Konami ones, which if you play, 6 months into a year, those things fall apart. Who knows how these will hold up, but Red Eyes Black Dragon is my favorite. For 1,080 yen, I got 100 Red Eye sleeves, which is more than enough to fit my chunky-ass rogue deck, so I was like, yeah, that was probably one of the biggest pickups for me, was those card sleeves alone, which I know sounds nerdy. I don't care. And then, they had, sleeves. They look like the actual backs of the cards, but they're holographic. These ones are black. These are 600 yen. And the rest of these were, God card style. So if you played in the 90s, you remember they had the yellow, red, and blue. If you played in the 90s, they had the red, yellow, and blue backgrounds on the God cards. These were the illegal ones that were not tournament legal. You could not actually use them in a duel. Didn't stop us from doing it as kids. But these were what the backs looked like, and they had whole ass sets of these. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll do it. 70 cards, it's enough to fit most of my decks. I also went to this place while I was in Shibuya, and I was not expecting to. It just happened to look cool, and I was like, let's go in there. It was called Tokyo Records Tower. It was 7 floors of music, which was dope. I am a big music person. I don't really talk about it too much on my channel, but I have my favorite bands and such. So me and the boys kind of split off and we're looking, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can find some stuff that I can't find usually in the U.S. So I'm a Coheed and Cambria fan, have been for a long time, since at least 2010, if not earlier on. So this is Unheavenly Creatures. This dropped like pre-pandemic. I want to say like 2018, 2017. Did not pick it up. I have every other Coheed and Cambria album like prior to this on physical CD. And my car has a CD player, which apparently is a luxury now. When I bought my 2020, it had it, and that was a luxury upgrade. Whatever, don't give a shit. So I've been looking for this one for a long time on my eBay list. Once or twice it slipped through my fingers. Got a Japanese copy of it. It's crazy that this will sell on eBay. Not the Japanese cover, but the English one for like 50 bucks. So I found this one, and this one was like 2,200 yen, and I was like, you know what? I have never held this before in my hands. I'm buying it. And the fact that it has Japanese writing on it just makes it so much more cooler. So that was an instant yes for me. While I was looking through the Coheed section, they had the follow-up sequel album to this, which is called Vaxxus 2. This one does not have the Japanese writing on it per se, but with Coheed, it's really neat, not to like try to sell you on the band, but every album tells a story. And I'm sure other albums do, but like these have like images to go with it as well as graphic novels. It's really sci-fi. The Amory Wars is a whole awesome story. If you haven't checked it out and you're looking for something kind of like action-y sci-fi, check it out because the albums pair with it and it's super duper neat. Gonna be a movie someday eventually, maybe. And then this one caught my eye, and I also have been a really big fan of these guys since high school. This was Vampire Weekend, Only God Is Above Us. That's their newest album, and although I'm not a huge fan of the name per se, I am a fan of this album. Honestly, every single song on this was unskippable except for Mary Boone. But that's just a personal preference. Anyway, this is the only Vampire Weekend album I don't own yet either. I kind of been holding off on buying random stuff in preparation for this trip, so when I found it, I was like, that's an instant yes. And what was even neater is when I checked out at the record store, they sent me back upstairs for one of these little, like, it said, you have a free gift on the 6th floor. So I went back up and I scanned this article, and apparently, which I'm going to open it here with you now, have not even opened this yet. This was a special gift. They were doing promos in July when this album dropped, and it was until supplies ran out. But if you bought it, you get one free sticker of one of their albums. So this is going to be one of the 5 album arts of. Let's see if we can keep it covered. I won't even look at it yet. But yeah, if you scan that QR code, it tells you about like they have a special deal going on at Tower Records. And this is one of the 5 album arts. So let's see what album art I got. Okay, damn. Out of all of them, my least favorite album was Modern Vampires. Oh well. But still, it's not for sale. These are pretty neat. Even with it being the worst album possible that they've written. And I'm sorry if that's controversial. I really don't like this album by them. I still own 2 copies of it. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. I do listen to it sometimes. There are some okay songs on it. It's just, before they took their 10-year break, I feel like that's where they kind of really just kind of hit a wall. Like, their self-titled album was fantastic. Contra was also amazing. And then this one was just kind of, what are you doing? And they stopped. Took like 10 years off. Came back with Father of the Bride. That was a banger. And then recently, just now this one, Only God's Above Us. So, lastly, there was all kinds of food. It was definitely a foodie's paradise. All kinds of amazing, great food, lots of snacks. If you haven't ever heard about the 7-Elevens over there, you should really look up some videos because they are a whole nother world, and they were. But 2 of the things I brought back to the U.S. here, I got some peach high chews. They have different variations of peach. I love high chews. I love peach. I thought that was fantastic. Can't wait to share this with the homies at work. And last but not least, me and the boys were cracking bags of these while we were drinking every night and just killing these. These are like corn-flavored Cheetos, but they're not actually a Cheeto-affiliated brand. But my God. It tastes just like sweet corn. So good. So good. But yeah, that was my Japan haul. Got a lot of cool shit. If you want to see like what I actually did during the days, all the photographs, all the beautiful sights and sceneries, I'll link some unlisted videos in the description. So like day 1 to day 5 if you want to check that out and just watch my travel vlogs. But I wasn't going to blow up my channel with like, oh my God, look what I'm doing. I just felt like that really kind of takes away from like what I make, and you guys probably don't want to see that. But if you do, there's your chance. Regardless, so thanks for sitting through me yapping over what I bought in another country. It's been real. And now we will resume with our regularly scheduled broadcasting. And the next episode of the podcast should be up next week. And that will be Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, followed by a Give Yourself, and then probably some more hauls as we slide into spooky season. But thanks for watching. I appreciate your viewership, and I'll scare you in the next one.